Indy Mogul.
Ready for this?
Let's find out.
The cost of freedom is always high. No one can foresee precisely what course it will take. One path we shall never choose. That is the path of surrender.
Now, before we get all negative on 20th Century Fox, let's remember that at first they did all right by the X-Men. Bryan Singer's first film was met with much praise from fans and made Hugh Jackman a household name. Then, having mastered special effects filmmaking, Singer topped himself with X2, which at the time was heralded as the best comic book movie yet. Unfortunately, it was then that the franchise became a victim of its own success. Singer now found himself in a position to direct his dream project, a new Superman movie, and promptly left the franchise. Matthew Vaughn, hot off of Layer Cake, was signed on to replace Singer but dropped out when he felt that the production schedule was too rushed, as Fox was in a hurry to get the film into theaters. So, to the horror of fans everywhere, Brett Ratner took the helm. But despite that uproar, X-Men The Last Stand still went on to gross more than the previous two films, and Fox felt everything was okay. That was until X-Men Origins Wolverine underperformed. Fox decided to step back and take a deep breath, obviously not wanting the rights to a highly profitable franchise to revert back to Marvel, but not wanting to run it into the ground themselves either. Yes, desperation was in the air, and not just at Fox. Singer's Superman Returns had tanked both at the box office and the court of popular opinion, sending his rising star shooting back to Earth. Similarly, Matthew Vaughn's Kick-Ass had failed to be the box office sensation many predicted, and he too found himself with a black eye. So both men decided to return to the X-Men, Singer as producer and Vaughn as director. Since continuity has largely been thrown to the wind in this franchise, Fox decided to start fresh and make this fourth film an ultra origin story taking place in 1962. Not only was the civil rights movement heating up, for which Marvel's mutants have always been a metaphor, but the world was also in the midst of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which is a major plot point in this film. But what's even more interesting is that 1962 was a banner year for Marvel Comics when the newly renamed company introduced the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, and Thor. As for the X-Men, they wouldn't make their debut until 1 year later in 1963. So, is the return to the X-Men's roots just what the professor ordered? Let's go find out. So I'm with BTT viewer Preston here. He came out for X-Men First Class. How was it?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, there were a few continuity problems, but I really liked it.
This time,
Right.
I think they hit the ball out the park. They definitely, you can ask for more for an X-Men movie.
It dragged a little bit. I forgot what part actually dragged, but I ain't gonna say it was not good.
Some of the stuff was predictable. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there, I like the cameos in there. I'm not gonna release anything else, but I like the cameos.
Were there multiple cameos?
I'd say 2, that's all.
Ooh. So what did you think of them putting the movie in the 60s? Did that work for you, the 1960s?
Yeah, I think it did work.
That was excellent because, everybody want to know how they was when they was younger.
The other ones felt really cheesy, but this one was they really adapted it to the time period and set it where it was supposed to be.
As comic book fans, is it frustrating that the continuity is so different than the comics?
Well, it is, but it's not. Because, see, with a comic book, you have months and years to tell a story.
Yes.
With a movie, you only have, let's say 2 hours. So you understand that certain things got to get chopped down.
I don't like the way sometimes they mess with the movie and then all of a sudden it changes.
Yeah, right, from movie to movie.
Yeah.
The way they made this film, it was good. Even if you have characters that are recently made, I mean, you had Darwin and Angel, so they were
What did you think of them
recently
bringing those characters into the original origins?
I was skeptical about it, especially with Darwin, but it worked out well.
This was actually pretty faithful to the comics. They added a lot of characters in there, like Banshee, one of my personal favorites from the comics that I never thought would actually be in the movies. And they were really faithful to Beast, actually.
Oh, wow. Who was your favorite in the new cast?
I like Professor X.
I'd say Professor X.
You would think Professor Xavier would be like a cornball. If you don't understand, that means like a nerd.
Yeah.
But he was he had swag. He was bagging girls in the bar. He was drinking, and that was cool.
I would say Magneto. Magneto's
Yes.
probably,
Yeah?
he stole.
Yeah,
he
Magneto.
stole.
I can't choose between Magneto and Professor Xavier.
Oh, you liked them the best?
Yeah.
Even though all those other flashy characters with powers, you still thought they were the best?
Well, I didn't really like the fact that their powers weren't really all that. It was really pretty basic.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I was more interested in Magneto's and Professor Xavier's backstory.
What did you think of them recasting those roles, though? Did you
Like
miss
the new casting?
Yeah, did you miss Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen?
Nah. Everybody that they picked up for this new movie did a great job.
I really like the fact that Bryan Singer produced this movie because he directed the first 2 films.
But has Matthew Vaughn topped Bryan Singer's films?
I wouldn't say he topped it, but I would say that Matthew Vaughn, he's a good director himself. He directed Kick-Ass.
I love Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah.
And I feel like he really did a lot with the source material, and I have a feeling this film would be a big hit because of the marketing.
Kick-Ass was Kick-Ass, but it's nowhere near X.
They're going to make more X-Men movies. Would you prefer they go back to current times, or do you think they should continue off of this film?
They should definitely go back to current times, but they should also delve into some other characters, like the origins, like Wolverine. They should do one for maybe Storm, for example.
Yeah.
Or maybe another character. I guess.
Cool. So you like them hopping around
Yeah.
in the timeline.
Nah, I want them to continue after this.
We should continue right off this. If it's going to be the same quality, same story, and depth of the characters and everything, we can continue right here.
Usually I hate what Fox does with the Marvel
Yes.
movies, but what they have done with this one is really, I respect them as a studio now. They have really changed my mind.
What do you give this movie on a 1 to 10?
Probably about an 8.
7.5, 8.
I'd have to give it a 8.5.
A 9 out of 10.
9.5 out of 10.
I would say 9.5.
10.
Sounds like it's redemption all around, not just for the franchise, but for its creators, as audiences overall give X-Men First Class a 9. And we're out here every week covering every major release, so be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Grace Randolph, reporting from AMC Empire 25, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.